Welcome to the Whole Athlete Podcast, where we focus on discussing topics to help you become a fat burner, optimize health, and improve performance in life and sports. Transform the whole you from the inside out with the holistic method. Let's dive in. Here's your host, Debbie Potts.
Hey guys, it's Debbie Potts, and I'm doing a new health building podcast to talk to you about how you can possibly have hidden internal stressors that you don't know exist unless you do some well-chosen functional lab tests. And as I become more of a health detective, putting my nutritional therapy practitioner training into my new functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner training, where we do lab testing and help identify those hidden internal stressors that can contribute or result in metabolic chaos. So the whole picture is what we're looking at, and we run 5 basic labs to get started working on collecting clues and help use that information along with your main health complaints, areas of opportunity, and look at your nutritional assessment and put all this information together to form an impression on what your areas of imbalance are or what's dysfunctional. And it's never just one thing, as I've talked about over the years in my own journey with my health issues since 2013. It's always a domino effect. If one thing is off, everything is off. So we look at hidden internal stressors, which stands for hormone imbalances, immune function or dysfunction, detoxification, dysfunction, congestion there, and digestion, dysfunction. And then we've got energy systems. So looking at chronic fatigue, issues with your mitochondria not working at optimal levels because they could be in cell defense mode instead of energy mode, where of course we want our mitochondria to be healthy to work on our energy, our performance, and longevity. And then we've got our nervous system and all the balancing we need to do within our whole body systems is all that Goldilocks effect. Not too much of this, not too much of that, just finding the right amount to get your body in homeostasis. So we want, good stress. Not all stress is bad stress, but that right hormetic effect of the right amount of short blasts of stressors, as we talk about in hot therapy, cold therapy, exercise training with the high intensity interval training, with fasting. It's on, off, not this steady stream of what happens if we have chronic stress, something that doesn't let up. And a lot of that could be, different nervous systems, include the different systems in your body can be continuously flared up. Inflammation in your gut will likely impact many body systems. So it's not just working on healing our gut, but working on why is our gut inflamed, and talking about our liver congestion and food sensitivities, and is our gut wall lining permeable? Is it allowing things that aren't supposed to get across the gut wall lining getting through little holes, villi, having space between each of those little shag carpet rugs pieces that get in between the villi. And also we get damage to the top of that brush border. Those little villi get to be cut down, as I always say, Berber rug, as we get more damage by eating foods that we're sensitive to, even if they're good foods, having constant stress, and all these different things contribute to hidden internal stressors. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about gut health, leaky gut, and the lab testing that we do. All 5 of the labs that we start with will help identify some hidden internal stressors and areas to bring back into balance. And we don't treat anything specifically, but we treat everything all at once. And there's no diagnosis, but diagnosing your metabolic chaos, this whole in balance with all the body systems, those hormones, the immune system, detox, digestion, energy systems, and your nervous system is all a domino effect, as I said. So when we're working on the labs, we start with a hormone test that's going to measure your HPA axis, measure the other hormones, testosterone, progesterone, estrogen, melatonin, and of course the cortisol, DHA. And we can collect a lot of information from that lab, but we always want to just not stop there, because you'll end up, what everyone did to me is just treat those symptoms. Even if I saw different naturopaths, functional medicine people, they would still just give me supplements based on those lab results. Instead, what I love about FDN practitioners is that we work as a health detective and work on everything to get the body back to optimal level and restore our vital voids and help rebuild the athlete from the inside out. So we want to get the hormone test, see where we are, not just treating hormones with supplementation, but working on lifestyle habits. So we collect these lab results and put them with your main health complaints, as I said, and other questionnaires and history we'll collect, and then put the pieces of the puzzle together. Because if you're low melatonin, for example, melatonin is mostly made in your gut wall lining. So that gives us an indication or a clue that there's some dysfunction in your gut. As we know, when stress is on, the immune system is dampened. And so if we have external stress, we're creating internal stress as well. And that accumulates if that external stress doesn't stop. If we're living life as a race, we're doing too much exercise, we're stressing out at work and financial information or in financial issues, and then just the list goes on, right? Of these external stressors, people in our life, something in the day just starts you off the wrong foot. So there's constant stressors in our life, but internal is what we do the lab testing to help figure out what are some contributors to your own specific case of metabolic chaos. So eating foods that you're sensitive to, reactive to, we'll do with the MRT test, and that will help give us some information on what foods we will have you avoid. And we'll work on a leaky gut test to find out how permeable your gut wall lining is. And then the stool test, a GI pathogen test to find out, do you have any bacteria, bad bacteria, any parasite infections, and any fungal infections, yeast infections, which you don't really know a lot about any of those that are in your body out of balance unless you do lab testing. As I said before, I think when I did a triathlon 70.3 World Championship in Vegas in 2012, my immune system was probably already down. So my first line of defense in my gut from not having a relaxing life, I was stressed out all the time. So I swam that contaminated, gross brown water for 1.2 miles in a triathlon in Vegas. And I think I might have gotten the blastohominus infection from there in my gut, because it often comes from dirty water. So if my defense system was already weak and allowed some bad bacteria to get into my body, I had this domino effect from there and just added stressors. So everything is connected. So we want to get that GI pathogen test done, as well as the permeable gut wall lining test, the food sensitivity test, and then also the two I did a previous podcast on, as I already said, the hormone test. But really, I find this other test really exciting to do for athletes. It measures, it's called the metabolic assessment through BioHealth that we do, and it's a urine test. So you can just order the kit and you can do it at home and then ship the results back to the company. And it will tell you your oxidative stress levels. your ability to digest proteins, and liver function. Is your liver congested? How's your bile? Are you able to get enough bile flow to remove those toxins, to digest fats? There's so much more to look at. So I love to be focusing my new career as a health detective to help athletes of all levels figure out what is going on. Why do I feel less than optimal? What is wrong with me? And not think that you're crazy. As I read part of my intro to my book, Life is Not a Race, to you the other week, I felt fatigued. I gained 30 pounds in a few months. I couldn't ride my bike anymore. My muscles seemed to be disintegrating and fat just kept coming on my body. And I had naps every day, and then I couldn't sleep at night, and I was wide awake at 2 a.m. I had just sensitivity to weird foods. I'd get headaches. I'd have just emotional roller coaster each day. I'm very sensitive, and I'd get depressed and just unhappy. And you'll go see your medical doctor, and they just think you need to be on antidepressants. Or they send me to a hormone specialist, see if my liver enzymes are off. Or they give me supplements to, naturopath would give me all these supplements, hormones. But really, it's working on what we call the Dress for Health Success program. I can't just take supplements and expect to get the results to bring me back to optimal level. I had to finally change the way I was living my life. My schedule day to day had to change. My workload had to change. My training schedule had to change. We call it the Dress for Health Success program because D is your diet, R is rest, so getting your sleep. Exercise is E, and we know most of us do too much of that, so getting the right amount of exercise and getting more strength training so you're building up instead of tearing yourself down, doing excess cardiovascular. And then we've got dress, we've got the stress, of course, we're talking about that all the time. And then S, the last S, is supplementation. But I think so many people just want that magic pill. As I did, I was looking for that magic solution. I just wanted to go race Ironman again that year in 2013. And I was just looking for someone just to give me the right combination of supplements to bring me back to life and to get my body to lose fat weight again and get my body lean and strong again. Instead, I just felt unhappy and depressed and just unmotivated because I couldn't get the results I wanted to. So all these labs that I'm doing for clients in my health building program, that's one-on-one, is a journey. It's a commitment. You have to be motivated. On a scale of 1 to 10, you need to be a 9 or a 10, or else you're not ready to do this program. I had to hit rock bottom myself until I was ready to listen to these people telling me what to do. Instead, I was just ready for the supplements. I wasn't ready to change. So before you start to want to restore your own health and vitality and feel alive and thriving every day, you need to be motivated. And sometimes you just have to wait till you're more screwed up, basically, until you come to someone as myself to get help. So let's go to the immune system, leaky gut. 70%, even to 80%, some people say, of your immune system is in your gut. So as people start to get sick more this time of year, they have more stress of the holiday season, job, wintertime is when I'm recording this. You may have a little bit more stress, but that's going to impact your gut health and impact your immune system. So leaky gut is what I want to go into. Leaky gut is related to your immune system dysfunction. Once those tight junctions loosen up and say the holes get larger, the immune system or I think of it, the immune system as a fire department or your first line of defense, the army. Once the army is activated and this internal war, so to speak, begins from the inside out, inside your gut. So think your gut wall lining, you have one side, one army, and the outside, different army, and you've got this fight going on. So these small antigens can get through in between the cells, and also through the cells can trigger all sources of these alarms or immune system response that vary per individual. So this combination can create chaos in all of the body systems and show up in different ways. So we may not know what is going on because the same thing is, the same symptoms will be different in each person. We're all unique, so we can't just give the one size fits all approach to treat you. So we got to look at the individual protocols to help create the Dress for Health Success program that works for you to heal and rebuild yourself. Now, we've got the stool tests that will measure your pathogens, as I said, any bad bacteria, overgrowth, parasite infections, fungal infections. And then we also look at the food sensitivity test that measures which foods you react to, because that will cause irritation in your gut wall lining as well as any bad parasites and bad bacteria living in your gut wall lining. So remember, your immune system's in your gut. So if you have a cold or you're getting the flu or you feel like you keep feeling run down, work on your gut health. Let's work on the why and dig deeper and work on treating all these things at once. Work on your gut health. Work on what you eat. Work on those stressors. Just what I do in the holistic method. We have to work on all these different lifestyle factors as well as taking the right nutrients to help heal and rebuild your gut. And we do some of that in my group program. I do the 30-day fat loss and transformation program. I do have them work on digestion and liver function, nutrients that will help seal that gut wall lining and work on getting rid of those irritants that we tend to eat each day. So remember, those internal stressors are hidden and you don't always know where they're coming from, where that stress is accumulating from. So we want to keep working on our external stressors, as I said, the lifestyle habits, nutrition, sleep, hydration, happiness, having gratitude. But the Goldilocks effect, as I say, is too much of this, of anything, can be toxic and lead to dysfunction, but too little of anything can lead to deficiency. So we want to find the right amount of everything, because more is not always better. Sometimes less is more, but you have to discover the right amount for your unique self. And looking at your genetics, as I did the other week, a show on the DNA report that I have, which is on sale right now, but really looking at the whole you. So common complaints with leaky gut issues and GI pathogens include digestion, muscle joint pain, sleep issues, fatigue, depression. But those are symptoms that could be related to anything that we test. So that's why the complaints can be different, but we don't really know what the source of that imbalance is coming from. But usually it's not just gut pathogen issues, but it's leaky gut and it's food sensitivities and it's hormone imbalances and it's metabolic assessment issues, working on, the protein often doesn't get digested properly. So that's going to lead to this whole domino effect, oxidative stress, all the free radicals that we're getting from our excess cardio workouts or training. And the list goes on. So it's so important to get these labs, I think. If you really want to work on performance longevity, we need to get the whole picture. So looking at if you have any pathogens, if we need to eradicate them, creating a program that we build the gut wall lining up and we get rid of those inflammatory foods. But, it's a stress that's causing this overload on the body system. So think what we talk about nutritional therapy is that top of your head is this beaker, and it's filling up from external stressors and internal stressors into your hypothalamus. It's that HP axis that gets overloaded, and hypothalamus to the pituitary gland communicates to the adrenal gland. We have more stress, and it's not stopping. It's constant. like that leaky faucet I've said before, that drip, drip, drip. It doesn't stop. Turn it off, turn it on. That's the good stress versus the bad stress. So working on slowing down those stressors and changing them with those lifestyle habits, but working on these hidden internal stressors, we need to seek and figure out where the dysfunction is coming from that's impacting all those body systems. So less than optimal, poor ranking lab results will usually correlate with your history and your main health complaints. So typical lab results that you'll get from your doctor, those results will say, here's where your optimal levels. Well, that's not ideal, especially if you're an athlete. You want to be higher than that. So we want to look at, all right, where is a healthy person? Where's the optimal levels for us to be in our lab results? Not look at, here's the average based on sick people that are not high performers as you are. So working with a health coach will help keep you educated and providing support and keep you accountable using these Dress for Health Success protocols and recorrecting the program as you go, because it's great to do retesting. Let's redo that hormone panel and the metabolic assessment in 90 days and see, are we doing something that your body's working towards recorrecting? And is your body responding to the protocol we created for it? If not, maybe we need to adjust some things. Maybe you're not following the DRES part, you're just taking the supplements, and that doesn't work. You have to do the whole thing together to really be effective and create changes in your body. That's why I think athletes, type A, AAA, people, we need that information back from labs to really show, hey, what you're doing to your body, look at your hormones, look at this metabolic assessment, look at your food sensitivities. The more immune dysfunction you have, gut dysfunction, you're probably contributing to more food sensitivities, having those foods that you're eating all the time now being tagged as they leak through your gut into your main body system, that those foods are becoming sensitive or reactive to. They're tagged as enemies. So we want to look at all these issues. Are you having poor stomach acid that you're allowing bad bacteria to seep through your digestive system instead of killing it off when you consume it, when you're eating food, when you're swimming in water? You know, your digestive system needs to be intact. Your gut wall lining needs to be intact so we can have that first line of defense when we have these bad bacteria and pathogens around us every day. But the healthier you are, you're able to defend yourself. So we want to keep on track of the whole lifestyle part. When we talk about the MRT food sensitivity labs, we just stay off of those yellow foods and the red foods and work on just eating the green foods for 6 months, then reintroduce them and see if you've improved your sensitivity or reaction to that food. Doing the GI panel test will help figure out if you have these major hidden internal stressors. Because if you feel like you're doing all the nutrition part and you're doing supplements and you haven't done a GI panel test, well, you have these hidden stressors that keep knocking you down and you don't even, maybe you don't feel them. I didn't know I had them, but you have to do the lab testing to identify those hidden internal stressors and specific protocols we do to remove those toxic offenders that you do on your own, because you need to work on the lifestyle habits, but we need to take these supplementation that are all natural to help eradicate those bugs. Now, it's a poor host, so that's why we always want to make sure all those foundations we talked about, the diet, the rest, the exercise, stress, and the supplements are working. Because if you are a weak host, I hate the word weak, if you are not a very strong host, your gut is not at optimal level, well, we need to improve it. So you're usually not having issues because of the gut bug. You have the gut bug as a result of having imbalance in your body system, chronic stress, or weak areas of opportunity for those invaders to enter into your body. you let that guy come in and bring all of his friends and family to create havoc on the internal gut society in there. So the intestinal microflora screening you can get can help those parasites be identified in their friends and family, and that we can then find out who's part of the problem of your metabolic chaos and who's blocking your proper function of your GI system. Your gastrointestinal lining is going to keep being broken down if you have these parasites living in there. Some of them, as H. pylori, could be up in your stomach organ, and then others can be in your gallbladder. So there's a lot of areas of opportunity we need to address. So we know that all digestion issues are important to work on. And it's our absorption, nutrient breakdown and absorption, a fundamental part of our metabolism and getting every cell the proper nutrients that it needs. And we don't get that nutrition if we have malfunction in our digestive system, starting north to south, eating in a stress situation, having your foods not being chewed properly, not having the right saliva enzymes start to break down the food in your mouth and then into your stomach. If we don't have the right acidity, we don't have the right digestive enzymes, the bile, the ox bile to help the bile break down the fat. We need all these things to happen in a sequence so we can break down our food properly by the time it gets through into the small intestine. So digestive malfunction can be a result of or a contributor to your own metabolic chaos, as well as a variety of other disorders. Now, the symptoms, as we know, can be far removed from the actual cause. So we have to really investigate and look at your why, not someone else's, but your why. Why do you have digestive issues? Why are you having gas or bloating or feeling weak or lack of energy, lack of focus, your memory, trouble sleeping? You wake up tired in the morning instead of feeling refreshed. Now, the gut health, your gut and digestion function impacts all your body systems. If you think about it, it makes sense, right? We need to get good food into your body, but it's how we digest it and break it down, and if it goes where it's supposed to go. And in fact, our function of our body needs to be looked at instead of guessing. So we get the intestinal permeable test, that leaky gut test, the GI pathogen test, and the MRT food test will help us identify those hidden internal stressors. It's not just one lab test that can help us. Sadly, we have to look at the whole picture by getting a few different labs. Now, the pathogens, as I said, can be a result of a compromised environment. I think most of us leading a busy, crazy life and a heavy training load are going to have a compromised environment. So I think most everybody has some level of leaky gut, and most of you are probably eating foods you're reactive to. You just maybe not paying attention to those red flags. You may not feel it, but it's happening. You're creating dysfunction in your body from what you're eating and how you're eating it, if you're able to break it down, and how you feel. So you want to learn more on what your body's going on the inside out so you can figure out your impression that you're trying to form to help create the right protocol for you to heal and rebuild. Now, pathogens are obviously going to cause havoc in your body system. That's going to cause chronic stress and creating dysfunction to your HPA system because you have that constant stress of a pathogen in there, maldigestion, malabsorption, toxicity. So that's going to overload the liver. So you have detoxification issues, you have elimination issues, and leaky gut, mucosal barrier problems. So working with a health detective, your goal should be to reduce and eliminate all the contributors to HPA axis dysfunction, your cortisol dysregulation, with the DHA being too low and the cortisol being too high or too low. Not that Goldilocks effect we are looking for. And those contributors that you help find to solve your metabolic chaos. Why do you not feel optimal? And we want to look at that. So getting those lab results to help identify your imbalances are really important to bring your body back to normal function. Homeostasis is balance within all those body systems. And really, why we don't want to just treat one thing. Because it's amazing how all the body systems work together. So, for example, eating foods that you're sensitive to or reactive to can create havoc in the gut. That's going to degrade the mucosal barrier and create inflammation to the lining. A weak gut wall lining allows for your enemies to attack, the ideal environment for the breeding ground of more pathogens, which is a result or a cause of damaged environment. And then we have infections, infestations that are just one of the most hidden internal stressors that can go undetected for years and keep the body in a state of chronic stress. So this is why I say get lab testing done and stop wasting time guessing. The longer the pathogen goes undetected, the longer the body is under chronic stress. The increased chance of progressing through stages of HPA dysfunction go on. So from we start in just normal, ideal, optimal levels, and then we go into the next phase is acute phase. And then we go into compensatory phase where your numbers start to go below normal. And then you continue on having chronic stress, then you're in exhaustive phase. Now, it's not just blaming that you have a pathogen on that problem, but on everything. So since pathogens are just such a contributor to your metabolic chaos, the success of your health journey, healing and rebuilding, is limited unless you identify and eliminate or even suppress, because it can go into hibernation, these gut bugs and invaders. But don't think that's going to solve all your issues when you get rid of that gut bug, because as I did, it still wasn't blaming the gut bug. If you are a weak host, then you can experience a cascade of health events and dysfunction. You can get rid of that bug, but then something else is going to come back. You're going to get another bacteria infection. The list just goes on. So it's just crazy. So if you experience a cascade of health events and dysfunction or dis-ease, and adverse alterations of the gut pH can lead to digestion and absorption issues. Retention of other organisms that would normally rapidly be eliminated if you were a healthy host, the body would handle these normally. Disruption of our intestinal mucosal barrier, we use that IP test for leaky gut to find out what's going on. And then if you're a weak host, you have toxic environment from those gut bugs. Their poop can be another additional stress of toxins or load of toxins that are stressing the liver, contributing to liver dysfunction and overloading the detox phase 1 and phase 2 pathways. And then we have maldigestion and malabsorption of nutrients when we're a weak host, causing obviously a cascade of events, and metabolic stress cascade continues on. Hyperpermeability and immune dysfunction, of course, are going to happen as well. So condition of a weak host can persist for years or decades without being able to associate an infection with the symptoms. So in a weak host, pathogens can take up residence and multiply, leading to this kind of cobweb stickiness coating. It's called the biofilm formation, but I think of it as a spider web around the pathogens. So they hide out. So they create this new residence in your gut, creating this toxic environment from metabolic byproducts, their poop, or what's more overloading the stress of the body, the liver especially. So those new invaders take over. Then the excess toxins increase your oxidative stress, your liver congestion, detoxification issues, and detoxification, which we can also see on the other lab. I said we use the BioHealth 101 metabolic assessment, and then you'll see added internal stressors impacting your hormone panel that we do with the BioHealth 205 or the Dutch hormone panel. So all these lab tests results should correlate with your main complaints and with each other. So on the labs, we could see the results elevated or trending higher, but we don't always know why unless we do all the labs. So the 5 labs cost, I think, about $1,000 to $1,200, but you can do them over a period of time, like 3 months, 6 months, and spread out that fee so you're not paying it all at once. But it really is important to do if you want to figure out what's going on with your performance. If you have gut issues, if you're feeling weight gain and not fat loss, if you're feeling you're not able to recover from workouts, you're not sleeping, the list goes on of symptoms. But with gut function or dysfunction, the pathogens, we start to see increase in food sensitivities. You get more food sensitivities when you're hosting to the gut pathogens living in your gut. You just don't know what comes first. So these microorganisms can create this environment, and then they can proliferate to secondary overgrowth, more biofilms and more infections, and just a host of issues. So it's kind of gross, but it just goes on and on. It's creating this dysbiosis. So we can't heal and rebuild the gut. We can't just treat the lab results. You can't just take a pathogen 60-day, 90-day protocol and expect results. You have to remove those foods that are reactive to. You need to get that gut stronger by taking out those sensitive foods, by rebuilding that gut wall lining, having your bone broth, and just reducing your stress, especially when you're eating. You're not eating in a stress state. So that's why my 5-day jumpstart, we do a little more fasting and help rest the liver. In the 30-day full program, we start doing intermittent fasting regularly each week, and we do time-restricted eating to help heal the digestive system in the liver, as well as taking some herbal tea and some digestive drink, GI support powder you can get and make it into drink or a shake, or I mix it with my athletic greens. But getting those nutrients to help heal and also soothe the gut wall lining if it's really flared up and irritated, inflamed. So we want to test for GI pathogens, but all the other stuff too, because if we have just the labs from your hormone panel, yeah, your HPA axis is going to be out of whack. You could have elevated morning cortisol, indicating you have leftover gut bugs overnight. Your melatonin levels could be low, indicating that you have a weak immune system, something's going on with your gut. You could have cortisol dominant, so low DHA, having catabolic breakdowns. That would mean your imbalance of cortisol to DHA ratio would mean you're breaking down more than you're building up. So those are out of alignment, out of homeostasis. You could be in a compensatory phase or even exhaustive phase of what we used to call adrenal fatigue to adrenal exhaustion, and have this whole disrupted circadian rhythm of your melatonin to your cortisol. So all these lab results could be indicated on your hormone panel, but you still don't know why those are out of whack. So you can keep redoing that lab test, but unless you do all the lab tests together, you won't really know how to treat the whole you. So we also do that metabolic assessment. We use a Biohealth 101 that can show, hey, I'm not digesting my proteins. I have a positive indicant. I have high lipid peroxides. I have very high levels of oxidative stress, probably showing some mitochondria dysfunction, and I have high bile acids, which is showing I'm not probably functioning. My liver is not functioning at high levels. I'm probably having liver congestion, which would cause liver detoxification issues, and also your bile will be impacted as well, which means you're probably not digesting your fat, and your bile also removes toxins in your elimination pathway, bile in your urine. So you've got more toxins loading up in your body, causing more liver issues. Then the food sensitivity lab we talked about, and then the other Biohealth 110 is your intestinal permeable test to find out if you have leaky gut. And then there's other tests you can do if you have heavy metal toxicity and other issues you can dive into more so. But usually these 5 main labs will help us find out what are your contributors or result of metabolic chaos, as we have that metabolic cascade of events that will happen. But we want to start with gut health. Poor gut health can lead to a weakened immune system. Remember that immune system has 70% being made in your gut. So If you have a weak immune system, you're a weak host, you're allowing your pathogens to infect the GI tract and overload the liver and have this whole domino effect. So we got to look at all these different symptoms and help put together a more specific program for you as an individual. Because a lot of people have some gut issues coming on, but you may not have bloated belly and have gas, digestion, poop problems. It may show up in your skin or joint pain, inflammation in the rest of the body, brain fog, memory issues. All these different things can be related to how you are breaking down your food and what's going on inside your gut, which will impact your whole body from the inside out. So that is just what I want to touch on today. I always think I'm just going to talk a little bit, then there's just so much to go into. But doing the whole gut panel will help you improve performance and longevity. But working on your gut health isn't just working on with what you eat, but how you eat. When you eat leaky gut, remember, is holes in your gut wall lining, leaking food, that's undigested food particles and bacteria and substances to enter your bloodstream where they don't belong. So it's really important to work on repairing your gut, but you can't do it by itself. You have to do this whole Dress for Health Success program, or what I call the holistic method program, because it's a huge problem, cascade of events, as we talked about today, if you don't address all the issues together. So if your gut's impacted, your performance in life each day is going to be impacted. We want to seal the gut and get it healthy and stop irritating it with bacteria, toxins, undigested food particles, and creating inflammation in the rest of the body and overloading the body stressor system because we have additional sources of stress. So healing your gut is a really important part of my coaching program. So digestive systems as bloating, constipation, diarrhea, IBS, candida, SIBO, skin conditions, allergies, food intolerances, all this stuff can be gut related to your gut health. Autoimmune disease, depression, anxiety, hormone imbalances, nutrient deficiencies, migraines, brain fog, asthma, chronic fatigue syndrome, difficulty losing fat weight, unexplained weight gain, or weight loss. So all these things are related, all these symptoms are related to gut health and leaky gut. So having your body healthier by removing those inflammatory foods, we do in my 30-day group program, and we get rid of these foods that are damaging gut health and work on the intermittent fasting and getting more of those nutrients of healthy food that makes us feel good and full and energized. Foods that cause inflammation or GI tract include corn, non-organic dairy products, soy, wheat, gluten, legumes, lentils, highly processed vegetable oils, including canola oil that everyone thinks is so healthy, sunflower and safflower oil, avoiding refined sugar and carbohydrates, any additives and preservatives found in processed foods, because we don't eat them, especially in my 30-day program. We remove all this and eat real food that's right for your metabolic type. Not eating animal products that are processed, farm, factory raised animals. So non-organic animal products we want to watch out for. And I think that's especially important for people switching to more of a keto carnivore diet, that if you're not able to afford farm-raised, grass-fed, farm-raised animals, if you're eating the factory meat, I would be really cautious on your digestion system and supporting your gut health and making sure that you're doing liver detox programs to help eliminate the excess load on your liver function. So when you're eating those foods that are pro-inflammatory, if you have underlying food intolerances that you don't know about, sensitivities that we find out with the MRT test, those foods are going to cause inflammation in your gut, even if they're good, healthy foods. So it could be, almonds or a berry or, broccoli, whatever. It could be a great food that's good for most people, but if it's causing inflammation in your body because you're reactive to, you need to remove it for 6 months and then reintroduce it. So we work on helping the gut by eliminating or identifying and then eliminating those external stressors, those energy robbers. We try to work on getting those external stressors as environmental, the blue light, the different electromagnetic frequencies. We want to help create a program to keep us healthy that way by having blue light blocking glasses at night, working on, getting off your social media, your iPhone, electronic devices more often, getting outside, getting daylight, taking walking breaks throughout the day, but really working on stress management. We do that in my program. Working on your probiotics, we use in my coaching program with clients, I love Megaspore Biotic and work on getting good bacteria in your gut. Having apple cider vinegar is beneficial as well, as some people like kimchi, sauerkraut, beet kvass, and we do the apple cider vinegar drink in my 30-day program. I have them take that before they eat or when they start to get sugar cravings. Also working on identifying those environmental toxins in your household items, and environmental toxins maybe where you work. You can't always do when you're swimming, all those toxins, chemicals in there, hairsprays, deodorants, all that stuff. You can look up EWG and find out if your product is rated high as toxic. And remember, that's all chemicals that are overloading the liver. So the liver, you can read my free ebook on my website. It talks about how our phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification processes work and how many jobs the liver has. It's crazy. So if we're constantly exposed to stress, to toxins, to sugar, our liver is working non-stop. It's pretty amazing that we survive the way we do with all that work. But simple things you can do is making sure you're hydrated with clean water. You're avoiding those dirty dozen contributors to toxins that are on the ewg.org. I posted on Facebook the other day. Avoid smoking, of course, and overloading on alcohol, getting rid of those plastics, and using glass and aluminum instead. And looking at the list I posted on my Facebook, Low Carb Athlete, Endocrine Disrupting Chemicals, the BPA, and watching your makeup, hairspray, makeup, deodorant, as I said, the body care, skincare products, shampoo, all these things you can look at as well on the EWG website. Pinterest, you can make a lot of your own stuff very easily with essential oils from doTERRA or Young Living. And then sweating, everyone exercises, making sure you're sweating, so you're getting rid of those toxins. Getting in the infrared sauna is amazing as well, so getting that elimination pathways working. And we'll do an episode on just pooping correctly, pooping not too fast out, having runny poop, and not being constipated, but the right amount is Goldilocks effect on your poop. Having the good, healthy, poopy policeman lineup, you want to look at that picture from Paul Chek, the poopy policeman, but same thing, not too much, not too little, just the right amount, make it the right, good quality poop, get your great kind of toxic removal through your bile and working on your elimination pathways. So that's what I am doing. My group program, 5-day jumpstart, we'll do every other month starting February. And then January, we'll do the 30-day group program, 10 to 20 people, max 20 people, and work on liver detox, phase 1, phase 2's digestive repair and reset. And then we work on phase 3's maintenance. How are you going to keep doing this when we're done? But if you want more than that, you have a little bit more concerns of your health, your fatigue, your weight gain, just more specific stuff, I would suggest doing the health coaching program 1-on-1 that we do, the functional labs, we work on nutritional therapy assessment, work on creating that Dress for Health Success program to help you reveal your vital voids, help repair those malfunctions that we've discovered in lab testing and clinical correlation with your other information we collect, our clues we collect in our investigation. And then we start with the Dress for Health Success program to help repair, reboot the whole you from the inside out, working on the nutrition, working on your sleep, your exercise, and your stress. And digestion, of course, is with that. But really rebooting and resetting the whole you, but how you can restore your health from the inside out with all these different techniques we work on, really individualizing how you need to take care of yourself. I'm finally figuring out for me, I'm paying attention to my red flags. I did sign up for Ironman Canada in 2020 in Hanu 70.3 and Lava Man, but I'm questioning if that's really good for my body because I did this lab testing as well. And with the FDN Practitioner program, we have more narrower ranges on our lab results. And my HP access, my hormones are not good. I should not be racing and training at a heavy load. So I'm going to reevaluate the next 90 days if I'm going to not race again. And now that I have a more specific program with the FDN process and working with another health detective to help my own journey heal and rebuild, I don't want to start training heavier, even though I've been training all the time, but have it break me down. I'm so in the compensatory phase, at least I'm not in the exhaustive phase, but training's probably not the best thing for me to do to start doing, a marathon. And that's harder on my body and harder to recover and repair. But until I get my hormones back up, heal my gut, my oxidative stress levels were very high in my metabolic assessment lab. My protein digestion was +2, which is really bad. So I'm going to follow my own 90-day protocol, working with my own health coach, mentor, to help heal and rebuild my own self. But if you feel like you're kind of having these weird, unexplained symptoms, if you're concerned about your health and well-being, your vitality, I would reevaluate what your race plan is next year or how you're dealing with your health. If you're just stuck in that trial there, you're going to waste many years, as I've had since 2013, is not just 3 years now. It's been a long time. Suddenly it's 2020 coming up here, and I'm just figuring it out. So my mission is to help you avoid going through what I've had the last 5 years by having been stuck in this cycle of trial and error. Do lab tests, get the results back, and get the supplements to treat that problem. I was doing that with 10 different people. I was taking hormone supplements, but it's not treating one thing. We need to look at the whole picture, do the Dress for Health Success program that's designed for you. We use the supplements in a sequence. We don't take them all at once. You have to see if they work for your body. And we can do nutritional therapy assessment too to find out what's out of whack and bring your body back to homeostasis. Your body has its own innate intelligence that we just need to reboot it and get it running at optimal level. Just like your computer or your car, you need to get the right nutrients to keep everything working. And as we age and as we do more in life and those years accumulate, those stressors accumulate, we need to stop and reboot the system more frequently. Like I'm sleeping amazing. I've started taking these support mineral pills and this magnesium MegTech, and I am taking my adrenal support, but I need to take some other supplements and continue working with my lifestyle habits. I need to find out my pathogen test still, and I need to find out my MRT test to find out am I eating foods that are causing constant stress because I'm sensitive to, and I don't know really if I'm reactive to them, because I might just get used to feeling that way and not know I could feel even better. So that's my own personal journey and where I am in my process of healing and rebuilding. But you need to do it for yourself because everybody's different. My genetics are different. My gut biome's different. My training schedule, my life schedule is completely different for me compared to what it used to be. I closed my fitness studio. I don't have that constant stress of getting enough people in the door and who's showing up today. And the overhead, I was paying out $9,000 a month with rent and overhead. It was a headache constantly, every day. I used to be out every night. Years ago, I trained in the morning, then do yoga at night and have run group. And I'd be home at 7:30 every night and leave at 4:30 in the morning. You can't do that. You're going to break yourself down. So I will end the show finally today. If you want to avoid breaking down and burning out, you need to look at training the whole athlete, the whole you, from the inside out with the holistic method. Find an FDN practitioner as myself, and I'm also a nutritional therapy practitioner and including genetic assessment in there as well using DNA Fit. But working with someone one-on-one as a health detective to help form an impression, collect data, and create a program designed for you based on all this information in our investigation to help restore your health, wellness, and vitality back to your optimal levels so you can improve your performance and longevity. Okay? That's my passion, that's my purpose, and that is my mission. Starting January 1st, 2020, that is what I'm going to be doing and speaking about and sharing and helping others hopefully feel alive and thriving every day. So if you'd like more information, go to debbiepotts.net. If you feel like you have someone else that might be interested in learning more about gut health, internal stressors that are hidden, share this podcast with them. I have tons of information on my website. I've got 3 or 4 free ebooks on there, and I also have blogs that I write all the time because that's how I learn and putting my thoughts together and resources together. I put them into blogs. So go to debbiepotts.net/blog and you can learn even more there. All right, guys, have a great time and make sure you just take time out. I just see people pushing the envelope a little too far, and you can tell because people act kind of weird and stressed out and anxious and short-tempered. So take time to laugh, be silly, put a smile on your face, and go for it today. And then take a break, and then go for it, and then take a break. All right? The Goldilocks effect is in everything. Enjoy.
Thanks for listening to the Whole Athlete Podcast. If you have any questions, feedback, or topic suggestions, let us know on Facebook or at wholeathletepodcast.com. You can help us continue and grow by leaving a review on iTunes. Thanks again, and see you next time.